All right, real quick review. Got another Rough Ryder Reserve. Figured while I've got that, I'll get the other ones out here so I can compare them. So I've got a bunch of my classic knives. I got 2 cases. These are all Rough Ryder Reserves, and then here's a regular Rough Ryder. And there's a Boker. So which one did I get? The Rough Ryder Reserve 010. Price says $60, but I actually paid $35 for it. And this is one I just went in there to Old Town Cutlery today and over in Cumming, Georgia. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen that one before. So I grabbed it. They don't have as much of a selection at that half price as they used to, but they still got a few over there. And this one I saw and I was like, you know what? I don't have it. Comes in a nice tin. Comes with a chamois or whatever, microfiber, cloth, whatever. And so I don't know what style you would call this. It's going to be a very quick review because I'm going to bed. But this is one of the Rough Ryder Reserves. It's Trapper-esque in that it's not the Trapper style. It's not this. But in that it's a 2-blade. So there's one almost looks like a Barlow kind of blade. And then what do we got? Wharncliffe or Sheep's Foot? One of those. I'm not sure what the real difference is between Wharncliffe and Sheep's Foot. I mean, they're both like a reverse drop. You know, the point drops all the way down. So wicked sharp out of the box. Very nice. Let's open up this one again. Yeah, very nice. These have always come with really nice edges. So anyway, these are made in China, but they're made really nice. D2 steel. The grinds are excellent. Razor sharp out of the box. I have never gotten one that had proud pins or anything was like sticking out. These edges are always perfectly aligned. As far as figuring out where the pin is on the bolster, not even seeing it. They did a really good job. This one is drilled. I guess you could put a lanyard hole on it. Very good. I've been so impressed with these. You know, I did finally get my other case, my Stockman back, and it's okay, but there is a lot of blade wobble in that one. I mean, it cuts, it's fine. There's no proud pins. It's definitely nicer fit and finish than the first one I got of that one. I'm sorry, you know what? That's not the one that went back for repair. The other one I had is the Staghorn. That one was always like that. That one's okay. This one's probably the best example of the case that I have. But I wouldn't put it any better than the Chinese Rough Riders. The Rough Riders are really excellent. If you look on here, this one works pretty well, but you'll see there's like a little gap between the spacer and stuff. It's just, I just don't understand. The U.S. made knives here are just not as good. Now the Boker is taller. The only downside I have to the Boker is their nail nicks are so shallow that if you chew your thumbnails or you break them frequently, like I can't open it with this thumbnail, barely. I have to really press. Hey, what's up, Max? My little pitty just walked in. Actually, he's not so little. He's about 70 pounds. The Boker is I'd say nicer than any of them, but it's also $100 and whatever I spent on that. This one's nice in that it's a little different. No, actually, I guess it's not. They all have that groove there. This one is obviously a lockback, so it's a little bit different. To compare it, I've got this one. I forget the damn names of these things, but it's the RR003. Then I've got a Stockman. And then we got this one here, which is kind of like this, but it's a little slimmer. But just to give you a size comparison, we'll throw a case up here and see where this falls. Going to be kind of in the middle. So kind of an interesting pattern. I don't know what you would call this. I mean, that's a Stockman. This is a Trapper. That's a Trapper. That's a Stockman. This is their denim line, I think they call it. And it's not the Rock River Reserve, or I'm sorry, Rock River. I keep calling it Rock River because the AR-15 company. It's a Rough Ryder. This is just a regular Rough Ryder, not the Reserve. Still pretty cool. Done a review of that. If you want to check the channel, you'll find it. You know, plenty sharp. Blade action is not the snappiest, but it also doesn't, as a result, give me that blade slap, which I've had on several of the knives, including the more expensive Boker, where, you know, the walk and talk they talk about is great. You get that really hard snap. Unfortunately, the blade over travels and smacks into part of the spring and puts nicks in the blade. And they're like, well, if you just keep sharpening it, eventually you'll remove enough material that it won't. No, that's not a good solution to me. So I put in the little leather bits of leather down in there. So now it just smacks into that hard leather, doesn't damage the blade. Anyway, this one, I don't know. I guess we'll see if I start getting nicks on the edge. Not all the Rough Riders. This one doesn't have it. This one, the Stockman. It happened with both Trappers and the Stockmans, and it doesn't seem to happen with this one. I like this one a lot. This is a great, great Stockman. Really nice. All the edges are smooth. Everything's perfectly polished. Excellent, excellent execution. But this one's kind of cool too. I don't have any Barlow style knives. And I know this isn't technically a Barlow. It's just that blade shape kind of reminds me of that. But that should be a good little pocket knife. That should be a good little, nice little cutter, nice little slicer. So I don't know what there is to say. Just kind of more showing what I've got. I mean, it's not a full review, I guess. What is there to say about it? It's Rough Ryder. If you're watching this, it's probably because you Googled and searched for Rough Ryder. You know the value of the knives. And especially when I can get them for 35 bucks. All of these. This one I think I paid 59 for. This was one of the ones that was not on sale. The Lockback, the little Hunter. But all of these damn it, I keep doing it. All of these Rough Ryder Reserves. One of these days I'll get it right. These were all 35 bucks each. So hell of a deal. Much better than most of the case knives that cost twice as much. Yeah, they're made in China, but whatever. The guy in China takes a lot more pride in his work. This one came out. This is my favorite of my case knives. This one's pretty good. The one they sent me back that had the staghorn on it. It's better than it was, than the old one, the first one I got, that was cracked in two places and just horrible fit and finish. But that one had blade slap too, so I had to put leather in there to protect it. It's down in there. I had to put that piece of leather, tuck it down in there so that the blade wouldn't damage itself every time I close it. And I'll be honest, I have only had that problem on this Rough Ryder, this big ass one. That big blade was getting blade wrap, snap, slap, whatever they call it, was hitting one piece of the spring. The little blades don't. So that's the only Rough Ryder that I've had to do that with. All of my case knives and my Boker all have the piece of leather. So take that for what it's worth. But cool little design. Didn't need it, but it does just fit my hand. It's a little small, but I really do like the fit and finish on these, and I do like that Warncliffe design. That's a great little utility knife. That's very, very pokey, very stabby, and it should be a good little cutter. That one's going to be good for certain types of cuts using that tip and drawing. And then, you know, this one having some belly, I should be able to get some different kinds of cuts out of that. I like having multi-blade knives. Yeah, they're not tactical. They don't lock in this case, which I do prefer locking knives, but you got redundancy. So if you break a blade, chip a blade, you wear it out, it gets, you know, dull, you don't have access to sharpen it, well, grab the other blade. That's kind of why I like the Stockmans a lot. You got different blade shapes for different cuts, and you have built-in redundancy. So anyway, that is the new Rough Ryder Reserve. What's the damn number on it? Let me find the box. The Rough Ryder Reserve 010, called the Tear Jerk. Anyway, there you have it. Very cool. Another nice addition to the collection.